Hello and welcome to Andertons TV. My name is Jack Duxbury, and today I'm very fortunate to be joined by the rather lovely
Tim Shoebridge. Great to meet you.
Tim.
High fives.
High fives all the way. Hey, firstly, go type in Tim Shoebridge into YouTube and watch his videos, because I'll only sully what you put out into the interweb, sir, because I love what you put out there.
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you very much.
I mean it, and it's such a treat. Luckily, you were recommended as someone that had a Typhon by the distributor, and that maybe we could have a chat about it, because I love the Typhon. I've done a few silly videos on it. And how long have you had yours?
Just a couple of weeks, that's all. I haven't had as long playing with it that I'd like, but you don't need long really to like, really fall in love with it, I have to say. It sounds fantastic, it really does. So yeah, I'm not an expert by any means, but I've been playing around with it for a few hours in total, and it's just an amazing sounding tiny little box.
And what I love is your perspective on Dreadbox synthesizers. Again, being a long-time follower of what you've done on your channel, you own personally quite a lot of their stuff, don't you?
I do. I'm a big Dreadbox fan since the Erebus version 1, and then I got the version 2. I've got a couple up here. I've got the Nyx, I've got the Erebus 3, I've got the Abyss, I've got a Medusa somewhere. I absolutely love them, and for me, they have a sound. I mean, it's about the sound at the end of the day. The sound is, it sounds like a vintage synth. The oscillators, they sound so big and beefy. The filters sound gorgeous, very, very musical. But for me, there's with all of the Erebus, and the other Dreadbox stuff, there's the instant access to the front panel of them. You've got just a few choice knobs on the front. It's easy to just sit down. You don't have to be really into synthesis very much at all. You can just get great sounds out of it. But there's always, with Dreadbox gear, some quirks and an extra dimension to them. There's more to what meets the eye. And with some of their older stuff, it's about patching and being semi-modular. And with the Typhon, we've got kind of semi-modular kind of stuff going on inside. We've got a mod matrix, but it's inside the little screen. So it's quite similar to the other Dreadbox gear, but it takes it to this whole new dimension. We've got wonderful digital effects in it. I mean, really beautiful sounding digital effects. And I believe it's portable. It's USB powered, so you can actually just put in a USB power bank and take it anywhere. It's a wonderful little thing, I have to say. I really enjoyed playing with it.
And I love on your videos that you come at it. You make a lot of music with your synthesizers, and it's the opposite of what I do. I normally just whittle some stuff, but you do these beautiful comparisons where you make the same song but on multiple synths. You haven't done a video on this on your channel yet. Have you got any idea of the way you're going to show it off in the future? Are you going to build a track on it, do you think, or?
That's what I always do. I'll always build a track with it, because I think for me it validates that I've used it. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's different to just sitting down with it for the first time and just going around the features. I like to use it. I like to get to really know it, and that's what I'll be doing with it. I'll be sort of like building up, a multi-track song with it, and then once I've got that going, I'll then feel probably confident about doing a video about it. But all of that takes quite a long time, I've got to come up with the ideas, come up with the song, record it, come up with all the patches that I need. So it's quite, it takes many weeks, probably months actually, from start to finish to do.
And I'm so excited to be able, and I also realise how I could be a bit of a thorn in the side type thing. But whereabouts are you now with the Typhon? And have you programmed anything up on it, or any sounds that you particularly fall in love with so far? Because I'd love to hear.
The thing about the Typhon is it does really gritty, angry sounds really, really well. but it also, because of the effects, the digital effects in it, the reverbs, the delays and stuff, it does ambient so well, you know, it does. And I'm a kind of ambient kind of sounding musician. I like the ambient sounds. So at this point I'm going to have to put on my reading glasses because I'm going to have to look at this little tiny screen here. I mean, it is very small. It's very small, but it's actually really, really well laid out, I have to say. I like the way they've laid it out. It's very sort of simple. So if I load this first patch here. So all the patches that I've got here are sort of like playing around with some specific feature of the synth, and what I've really sort of like found as an extra dimension to this synth is the modulators that are in here. There are 3 of them, and they can be an LFO, they can be an envelope, they can be like a random note generator, and they can be a step sequencer. There's so much power in these things. This particular little sound, it's just showing off one simple thing, which is that there is a fade control on an LFO. So that vibrato is just brought in gradually. And you've got so much control over it. You can go from fading it in very slowly to actually having it and then fading it out. And to do that on a regular synth, you would need an LFO and you'd need an envelope generator that is able to modulate the depth of the LFO. You know, you're talking about quite a high-end synth to do that kind of thing. And yet it's here just as a sort of like almost a throwaway feature inside the modulator. I just love it. Okay, but it's not a very exciting sound.
No, I think it is. When I hit the effects for me are anything I got out of it on the only time I spent with it is just flicking up through presets and turning things. But even when I had the filter right down, I had little blips and blops. The reverb is just incredible.
It's immense. It's almost so immense that it's difficult to kind of tame it and just turn it down to just a little subtle reverb. It's beautiful. I mean, it reminds me very much of the Nix. I mean, I fell in love with the Nix from Dreadbox because that had this incredible reverb in it. It's from Crazy Tube Circuits, I think they are. The only trouble with the Nix is that it's a mono synth, and the reverb, although it's massive, it's a mono reverb. But obviously the effects on the Typhon are digital and they're stereo, and yeah, they sound absolutely incredible. I mean, this particular patch here. Very simple as well, but it's using the random sample and hold modulator algorithm, and it's so advanced. It's got a lag, so sample and hold is the normal sort of like the random note generator that we hear in synths. This thing has got a lag in it so that you can actually smooth out those random notes or random values.
Yeah.
And I have to say, the only synth that I've played around with recently that has that feature is actually a Moog 1. And it's there just as another little feature in the sample and hold circuit. And then it's got a probability circuit as well, or a probability parameter. You can specify how, what is the probability that that random note will play at that point in time. So you can come up with some really quite random stuff. All I was doing with that one was just sort of randomly changing the value of the resonance on the filter. So you get these like little sort of like whale song kind of things going on. And they're kind of going up or going down like that. There's just so many possibilities. I think this little tiny box, it's for sound design. It's a really it's an amazing little box. I have to say, it's got so much going for it.
So, Tim, what I love is when you're delving into the menus there and you're finding these features that aren't maybe too apparent on the top surface. Are there any other bits? I'm really interested as a guy with a deep perspective of the other synths. Where do you think it differs? You said the Nicks, it was similar in sound, but just off the top of your head, what are you feeling about this? How it stands out in the Dreadbox range?
I mean, it's got the effects. So it's got these sort of the ambient effects. So it does ambient really well.
Right.
It does the Nicks kind of stuff. But it's also got effects in there that do an awful lot of gritty kind of sounds. So it can do such a wide sort of like spectrum of sounds, to be honest with you. But the one thing I've found with the Typhon that I've been playing around with the most, I'm just going to grab an old synth off the floor here. This is from like 20 years ago. This is Dave Smith's Evolver. It was like the first synth that he produced as Dave Smith Instruments. And I mean, a lot of people don't like the sort of like the way that you interact with it, because it's all about this like matrix of millions of different things that you can change here, and it is complicated to use. But what it's got inside it is it's got 4 step sequencers and 4 oscillators, and you can, although it's a monophonic little desktop unit, you can create these amazing, almost crazy kinds of sounds with this thing. And the Typhon just reminds me of this because of the capabilities that it has inside.
Definitely, I felt that when I was playing with it, it almost felt like I was playing a polyphonic synth, because I was getting a lot more than what I was playing one note at a time, but there were these, and in that patch that you've designed there, there's beautiful movements, and like you said, the distortion, how the resonant grabs it. Oh. Yeah,
exactly. And just by turning up and just having that sort of like constant reverb in the background as you're playing, and it's keeping your notes sustained. That in itself is giving you that kind of polyphonic, feeling to the sounds that you've got. But what you can do with the modulators is you can actually modulate each of the oscillators at the same time and get them to play different notes. So you can actually get it to play duophonically just by using the modulators and using the step sequencer inside it. So there's an awful lot you can do with it, but it involves programming with these little sliders and the screen here.
So be prepared to, if you buy one of these things, be prepared to, I was not selling it, but really excited the fact that anyone could buy this who maybe wasn't into synthesis. And it seemed that all the controls were very well scaled, especially the way that the filter time and the amp time works in divisions. I love that. But the deeper dive into you're finding that similarities to synths that cost inexorable amounts of money, really. Like you said,
there are those little features inside here that just make you go, "Wow, this is just so great!" Absolutely, it's packed full of those little things. But you're right. I mean, you if you want to deep dive, then deep dive. But you've just got this front panel and some envelopes here, and there's so much that you can do without even going into modulators and going into that extra level. But it's there. I think it gives like a longevity to the synth. It's not like a 5-minute wonder. There's a huge amount inside it, really. If you want to go into it, put it that way.
And what I'd love is, and go check out Tim's channel, because obviously in the coming months you'll do the deep dive. You'll be there with the full. You're like David Attenborough in a mini sub. That's what I feel like going down there, like seeing the depth of it. So go check that out. But also, just to play us out, Tim, if you'd love to just fire away, play some patches for us.
Yeah, sure.
And where can people where can they watch your stuff? It's Tim Shoebridge on YouTube. And have you got? Are you doing anything else on other socially things?
I've got a Facebook page. It's called Sound Mangling, because that's the name of my little business. Because I produce sort of like extensions, if you like, add-ins for some Korg synthesizers. So I've got a website called soundmangling.com. But yeah, I mean, YouTube is the best place to come and find.
And we're going to have a chat about this. Check out another video where I do a deep dive behind Perfect.
The diver.
Yeah, I'm dive behind the diver. Mate, can you play us out? And thanks for watching, everyone out there. If you like what we're doing, consider subscribing. If you don't, let us know. I learn from the hate. I learn from the hate that's out there. We can take it. Tim and I can take it.
We can. Yeah, thick skin.
Goggles on.
Goggles on. All right, listen, I'll just play this little patch here. It's modulating both of the oscillators with step sequencers at the same time. So it sounds like this. But then I can use the main sequencer and play that as well as the other sequences that are running. Great fun, really is great fun.